So hello good people of the interest, this is Tommy Kelly and this is another vlog, and this is another photography vlog, and it's another vlog about the whole situation, I suppose is one way of putting it, that I have gone on in the club, where I'm feeling kind of unsure of my future in it, whether it's a good idea, whether it's a bad idea, whether it's one of those things, all those things that I've talked about in the previous couple of vlogs. Last night was our second last club night of the year. I'm pretty sure it was anyway, and we had there was another competition. It was an inter-club competition, which we'll get to in a minute. But when I arrived, I was the second person there, and there was another of the members there early as well, and it's Conor McEnany. And I will link to Conor's stuff down below in the description, and you can see his stuff. Wonderful photographer, like top class. In some sense, a bit of the golden boy of the club, in that he joined a number of years ago and quickly rose through the ranks, getting up to like senior level very, very quickly. Won photo of the year or photographer of the year thing in the club a number of times, all of that thing. So, you know, good guy, funny guy, real genuine guy, very helpful, all that sort of stuff. And he kind of, when I come in, and the first thing he says to me, he goes, "If you leave the club, I'll fucking kill you." Which, if you're not aware of how Irish people talk, that's very endearing and very affectionate way of talking to someone and being nice about things. So he kind of talked me around a bit, and just we had a good chat about the whole thing until people started coming in. Just kind of saying that the way he approaches it is to do the competitions as, you know, don't lose yourself in the competitions. Don't become something different. Do the thing you're doing, do what you enjoy, and then look through your kind of catalogue of stuff that you have and put in the stuff that you think is best suited to competitions, rather than doing stuff to try and please judges or aiming towards the competitions, and then don't care what happens. He says, because at the end of the day, how he feels, if even if he's getting a lot of negative feedback from stuff, if he likes the photo, he's happy enough with himself, and that's fair enough. And that's something I would have to work on, because I'm not sure I have the kind of will in me, or the ability in me, to actually be able to, if I was getting a lot of negative feedback or constantly over something, which, you know, isn't like I wasn't getting an awful lot of negative feedback. I was getting some feedback, and it was the same kind of thing I was getting back, which, as I've discussed before in the previous vlogs, if you want to go back to that, I won't keep on that point. But anyway, that was good, and I enjoyed that. And I was kind of very hesitant of whether I was going to go down last night at all. And I had to go down at some stage, because I had to collect all my prints from the final night, because I didn't want them to be left there all year or whatever. And also there's the exhibition next week starting, and if you want it, I'm entitled to 2, possibly 3 images in the exhibition. I would have to go down and get them framed and put in and all that. So I kind of had to go down in one way, and I was hesitant. I didn't really want to. So my very first plan was to go in, get my images, put the ones into the exhibition, and leave. So I didn't do that. I went down, and after the chat with Conor, I kind of hung around. I says, right, I'll do it. So this competition, this inter club competition that happened, was basically where we have, it's a Threeway, it's called. And it's basically where 3 clubs, which is the Banbridge Club, Ballynahinch Club, and the Dundalk Club, all arrived to Dundalk, and they put, each member of each club is allowed to put 1 monochrome and 1 colour image in, whether they're non-advanced, advanced, or senior, or whatever. It's a club competition. And all of these are then put up on the wall. And the judge, who was Seamus Costello, he was a cool guy, he was really nice and very interesting. He kind of reminded me a bit of, years ago, there was a program called The Fast Show, and there was a guy who always introduced the jazz things. Nice. He was that kind of, it was good. He was very positive. And I was pointed, it was more, you had to look at what he wasn't saying about things. Because basically he was going to go around all these photos and say something about each of them. And then, from what he said, the 3 clubs had to decide which ones they would then put in to the final competition. So the ones I entered into it was this one, which is Silence, which is the one that did particularly well in the end of year competition for our own thing. And this one, which is Skull Girl or something, I can't remember. I think I've changed it a number of times. They're the ones I put in. And when he went round, he talked to me. He actually mentioned among them, you know, they really liked creativity and found that was important, doing that kind of thing. So that was nice. And I goes, right, happy enough with that. You know, like at least it's wasn't dismissed outright or whatever, that kind of thing. If it felt that it could have been a part of the bigger thing, and, you know, it had a rightful place on the shelf and all that kind of thing. So then after you went through them all, it came to the point where the club had to pick them. So they're all taken down, and a couple of members, senior members from the club, then go up and go through the images or whatever and pick which ones they feel the judge liked the best, which they liked the best, and which would represent the club the best over the whole thing. So, to my surprise, there was 2 sections. Obviously, there was 10 images picked for the monochrome and 10 images picked for the colour. And both my images were picked. And they were scored out of 10. And my skull girl thing got a 6 out of 10. And it was the first one to get the score. It was kind of funny. I was going like, oh, you know, chuffed, I got it and got 6. And I was going, all right, maybe I've let the side down completely here. But 6... 7 was kind of like the standard. There was a few 5s, there was a number of 8s, 1, 2, maybe 9s, and overall in the night, overall there was only 4 10s. Out of 30 images now. Would that be right? No, out of 60 images, 4 10s. That'd be right. So there's 3 clubs, 10, 60 images. So like that's kind of the level it was at. So the 6 was... After the first, my image got a 6, I went, oh no, and then the second image also got a 6, and then like an awesome image got a 7. So I was going, right, it's not as bad as I thought. Then in the colour section, the silence one got an 8. So that was brilliant for me. I felt really chuffed by that and really kind of uplifted and valued and appreciated and all of those things. And understood. I felt understood for the first time. And then, when all the scores were added up, whatever, Dundalk won. Our club won. Which is, they've always won it. It's been going nearly 15 years, and every year Dundalk has won it. Because the standard of Dundalk is quite high. That's not to say that the standard of the 2 other clubs, it wasn't high. There was some exceptional images. Some really interesting stuff, very different styles. Some really, really good stuff. It's just the Dundalk standard is quite high. And out of the 4 10s, full marks that were given, 3 of them were from Dundalk. And the overall winner of the best image was Damien, who's the head guy of the club at the moment, and really, really brilliant image. And the other 3 he was meant to do like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. He couldn't, he said, so this is the winning image, and the rest are joint second, because it's just the standard was so good. So I came away from that feeling much better than I did since the finals night, or even before the finals night, the league night and all over the last while, where I just felt I didn't have a place at the table. Or not that I didn't have a place table, of course I had a place table, that I wasn't sure if it was if my type of stuff would do well, and whether I would have to curb myself to become good at competitions, or just not do competitions because it would have a reaction against the type of art or photos or whatever I wanted to do. And last night gave me the kind of the confidence or the booster to go, well, no, that is something I could get round and get doing, and that it'll all depend on the judge, and it's not something to just give up or whatever, even though it's hard or I didn't do as well as I wanted, or I did, you know. But basically, it's because out of everyone who competed in the entire club, I came joint last out of all of it in the finals night, and second last in the league. Now, that's probably not as bad as it sounds. You could definitely have a glass half full answer where I came joint 4th, because there was 5 of us in it, like, and again I came 5th. Then it was whatever way you want to look at it. I got it, did enough to get into the final, very high standard, all those kind of things, but still fairly deflating. And I know a couple of other people kind of feel the same way about it, that they're not sure if they want to continue in the club and all that thing. And I do get it. And if I had made this video yesterday, I probably would have been going, yeah, I'm not going, to the point that I nearly didn't go last night. And how different the world would be because of that, and how different my future would be. How simple of me just deciding I'm not going. Wouldn't have got that boost, wouldn't have got back into it, wouldn't have probably had anything in the exhibition, probably wouldn't have went to the exhibition and then never went back to the club again. Just deflated, defeated, beaten, and all of these things. So easily, like one decision changes that. And had I been had a slightly different day, yes, or maybe had a row with someone, or just wasn't feeling well, or something went wrong, or whatever, I wouldn't have went. Because early in the day I wasn't feeling the best, and I've managed to get myself out of it. So it's, it's hard, like life and all of these things can handle, or can, just turn in an instant, or in very simple things. And some of the biggest things in your life can rely on very, like almost synchronistic or coincidence, or very small little decisions or incidences. And it's, you can't overthink these things, because, you don't know when they are, or when they're going to happen, or what's the actual story behind them. Like, you wouldn't, I could have equally gone last night and 2 images not ignored, but not done well, or whatever, and then I would have been validated from it, right, that's it. So I equally could never have gone back to the whole thing. But it's, it's important. I think my point out of all of it is that it's important that if you're on the other side of things, where you can kind of booster someone, or make someone who's kind of not getting what they want, in a sense, or they're not doing well, or whatever, just how a very simple thing can change everything for them. And it's very important to remember that in all our relationships, that when we see that, there is someone's having a bad day, or a bad thing, that's like a very small thing can change everything from them. Not always, and it's not going to change people's lives, but it can. And getting that small kind of boost, and the affirmation, and the reaffirming of, the club, and having the crack with the guys, and feeling the camaraderie, having the guy, Conor, give me, the talk and all that, was very helpful and very important to me. And I'm very thankful for it. But also aware of how different it could have been. And had I let my mood over the last while, or my blues, or my downness, or whatever what it is, gone through and not gone to last night, how different the world would be. So that's kind of all I want to say. I'm going to leave some links below of the different people who are in the club, because people have been asking me that they'd like to see the other people's. So I'll link some Instagrams and some Facebook pages and stuff of the different people that I can find. I'll definitely put in Connor's, Barry's, Pete's, Enda's, if I can find it. I don't know how often he updates it, and a few others, Graham's, Dave Martin's, and I'm forgetting people's, but I'll put them all down, and you can see it from there. So, good people of the internet, there's a positive vlog about my photography experiences at the club, and much better place than I was when I probably talked to you about these things last time. So, good people of the internet, be well and have a great week.